In 2019, Google released MediaPipe, an open source framework that uses machine learning to identify parts of the body from a photo or video. They have models for things like face detection, pose estimation, iris tracking, and even hair segmentation. The one that I find the most interesting is the hand tracking model. With it, you get a list of points or landmarks for each part of the hand. Each of these landmarks has an X and Y coordinate based on where it appears on the image. They also have an estimated Z value, but this is just inferred with machine learning. I've been wanting to try using MediaPipe to make a project for a while now, but I wasn't sure what to make. Randomly, I had the idea of locking a file, and it could only be opened if you make the right hand gestures to the camera. The password could be a sequence of gestures you have to make. That way, I could keep private files on my computer, and if anyone wanted to access them, they'd have to know and perform that goofy QuickTime event. Using MediaPipe in a personal project is really easy because Google offers a very well documented API that can get you up and running with Python in just a couple lines of code. After importing MediaPipe, I load the hand detection model as MP hands and create a hands object. This object takes two parameters. The first sets how confident the model must be that what it's seeing is actually a hand, and the second controls how certain it must be when tracking the hand between frames. I then send each video frame to the detection model, and the results are stored in a results variable. From there, I can check multi-hand landmarks, which is a list of all detected hands. If a hand is found, I can grab the first one and store it as first hand. Each hand has its own landmark list, and we can refer to this diagram to understand which landmark represents which part of my hand. To test it out, I drew a circle on landmark 8, which should be the tip of my index finger. Okay, don't mind my dog. But look at my finger. That's so cool. Dude, that's sick. Another really easy thing we could do is just loop through all the landmarks and put a circle on each one of them. This should show us each point that's on the hand. It should do the whole hand. Yeah, look at that. That's awesome. So now we could totally do gestures with that. Like, see if I make it so the index finger and the thumb are close together. That looks like a A-OK sign. Now that I have access to all of these points, I need a way to determine which gesture the hand is actually making. There are a couple ways of doing this. I decided to make a system that checks which fingers are extended. That way, I can map different combinations of fingers being extended to different gestures. If there are more specific cases, I can just handle those separately. But how do we even know if a finger is extended? Well, I guess you could calculate the angle between the finger joints, but that gets complicated because the hand's rotation itself changes those angles a lot. Plus, it sounds like a lot of extra work. What I chose to do is to compare the Y values of the knuckle and the tip of the finger. If the tip goes above the knuckle, then the finger must be extended, hopefully. Yeah, look at that. So when the finger's extended, it prints true. If not, it prints false. Cool. For most of the fingers, this was fine, but the thumb doesn't bend in the same way. It opens more horizontally. So instead of checking the Y values of the thumb, I would have to check the X values. The only problem with this is that I can't just check if the X value position of the knuckle is, say, greater than the X position of the tip, because that would be flipped if I used my right hand. See, it works on this hand. False, true, false, true, true, false, true, false, because it's flipped, you know? Because of this, I had to use the MediaPipe's handedness classification to see if the hand detected is right or left. I also have to take into account the orientation of my hand. If we look at the left, for example, if my palm is facing the camera as I bend my finger, the X value of the tip increases. If I hold my hand in a thumbs up position, the X value of the tip decreases. To fix this, I do a check to see if the middle point of my thumb is above the middle point of my index finger. If this is the case, then the user is probably trying to do a thumbs up. Once I had a reliable way of knowing which fingers were extended, I split each gesture into its own function. Each of these functions return true if the hand matches that gesture's pattern and false otherwise. For example, peace gesture checks if the index and middle fingers are extended and the others are folded. Fist gesture checks if all the fingers are folded, and so on. I don't know if this is cool. I think it is. So fist, peace. Fist, peace. An exception to this is OK gesture. For that one, I had to check the distance between the points on the index and thumb with the helper function to see if they were touching and the others were extended. All of these gesture functions get stored in a map called gestures. In this map, the keys are the names of the gestures and the values are the functions themselves. This gives us that sweet O of 1 lookup time, not that I even use it, but it also makes it easy to figure out which gesture is being made simply by looping through all of them. Okay, I'm just like rapid fire making them, but like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, thumbs up, fist, okay. That works like crazy well. Now that I have a good way of detecting gestures, I made a patented super secret gesture sequence that the user will have to make in order to access a file. If my program detects a gesture that is held up for more than 2 seconds, it adds it to an entered list. If they match up, then you get access to the file. Wait, what even is the file? Can't you just not use the Python script at all and open the file directly? Yeah, that's what I noticed after I built the password system. Luckily, there's a Python library called Fernet that lets you encrypt files and generates a secret key. Without the key, the file is just gibberish. So if someone tries to open the file directly, it won't work. So now all I gotta do is encrypt the file with Fernet, save the key, so when the correct gesture is made, my script will call Fernet again to open a temporary file so I can look inside. The last thing I added was a skeleton overlay showing all the connections in my hand. Using MediaPipe's hand connections, which are a list of tuples representing the built-in start and end points, I could loop through them and draw a line for each pair. Let's test it out. Okay, here's my encrypted file. If I click on it, it's just going to be gibberish, right? If I actually want to see what's in it, I can use Gesture Unlocker. It'll run the program and hopefully start up the camera. So then, I'll move this here. Yeah, so it's saying please hold up hand. I'm going to put, see it's, okay, perform gesture 1. It sees my hand. I'm going to say 1, 2, okay, thumbs up, and then this should open the file. Yep, there it is. Well, there it is. So secure, I love it. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.